welcome, beautiful people. Happy Thursday. I hope everyone in here, everyone around the world is doing great. I hope y'all are doing all right, man. I hope y'all are doing awesome, having a great day. Strong end to the week. And as always, welcome to another episode of the Jayson Estrera Show, where we talk about basketball, sports, and any topic that comes our way as accurate as possible. As always, it's your host, your boy, Jayson Estrera. Now, today is obviously D-Day, right? NBA Finals Game 1 is tonight. So today I make my prediction. I've been thinking about this shit since last week, and they did that on purpose, and they've been doing their best trying to fill that gap with a bunch of news. So we heard a bunch of shit this week, and and we heard some shit yesterday too. They've just been throwing shit at us all week just to fill the gap. But the NBA Finals is tonight, and another person that was filling that void was A'ja Wilson, who has been absolutely incredible this year. So we'll talk more about her and the Las Vegas Aces who played last night. And yeah, so let's jump right into it. So yesterday we got a little bit of news on the timeline yesterday, actually. More news, believe it or not, on the Los Angeles Lakers. Of course, LeBron James, when LeBron James ain't even playing. Well, I guess it's not LeBron James. It's LeBron James adjacent. So yesterday, let me see, where the fuck is it? So yesterday, we got some news that former UConn coach Dan Hurley is being targeted by the LA Lakers to become the next head coach. The team has had preliminary contact with Hurley, and the sides are planning to escalate discussions in coming days, sources say. So, talk about coming out of nowhere. Talk about like out of fucking left field. So Dan Hurley has been the coach for UConn from 2018 to this past season, 2024, where they won the NCAA tournament. Right? So it's actually, when you think about it, the coaching landscape in the NBA at the moment, it's outside of going to some obvious names that for whatever reason people have skipped over, like a Mark Jackson, like a Stan Van Gundy, even a Jeff Van Gundy. You know, both of them, they're right there, and they don't get calls, right? People that have experience. And so the next best thing would be to at least inquire with the most recent NCAA tournament champions. And, for his career, right, what the fuck is this? All right, so for his career, I was like, bro, what the fuck is that? So his overall is, out of 455 games coached, he is coached at Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Wagner. Right? So he is 455 games, 292 and 163. So a 64.2 win percentage. Which, hey, not bad. Not bad. They've been in the what is this? Wait, they're back-to-back NCAA champions. Huh. Back-to-back titles. Okay. And he was also a former Duke star. So, yeah, I mean, that just goes along with the, he has some accolades. Now, it is interesting. It comes right off the heels of the JJ Redick thing, right? And this guy would seem like a candidate that's had a lot more experience than JJ Redick, right? And maybe someone that you would want to try in the NBA. But then it goes back to the respect thing, where obviously the players will respect him, but he's still a college coach, and I think players will ultimately look at him like a college coach. And they'll look at JJ Redick as an NBA player. And I think it would take time for both of them to be looked at as NBA coaches. However, and this is just obviously me speculating. I think JJ Redick would actually garner a little bit more respect as a former NBA player rather than an NCAA coach coming in, even as a two-time champion. That's just me. It's just, you could call that crazy, but I genuinely think that that's how they would look at it, respectfully. And, so to, take a look at JJ Redick, he had addressed this, I don't remember if it was yesterday or not, but let's take a look at this.
My day-to-day right now is consumed with calling games, the 19 different podcasts I feel like I have, my obligations to all of our partners. So my focus is on the NBA Finals. I will say that. In terms of Shams, that will be addressed once the season is over. So I'll just say that.
So that rumor will be addressed once the season is over. What does that mean, JJ Redick? So I think the thing to note here is to become the franchise's next coach is what Woj had was the breaking news. That was the headline, right? They're targeting UConn's Dan Hurley to become the franchise's next coach. Now, this could work in a weird way. Oh, did I just fucking... Oh, I swapped those. My bad. All right. Anyway, so in a weird way, I think this could be both of these things could be true, is what I'm trying to say. In a weird way, meaning maybe they actually hired the guy who's had coaching experience in college in Dan Hurley. And they also get a JJ Redick on board as like the head assistant coach. And at least from the outside looking in, knowing how college coaches have performed in the NBA, they haven't been that great. Historically. But it kind of sets this, it sets the stage for JJ Redick to quietly get some experience while they see if this guy really got it or not, being Dan Hurley. But the easy alley-oop of we could just get rid of Dan Hurley because JJ Redick is already on the staff. That could be the play that they have, because they understand, or they've even heard the backlash with regards to the lack of experience that JJ Redick has. So they come up with this game plan where, all right, we could hire a candidate that kind of makes sense and allow JJ to get on the job experience, expedite his experience, because you would basically have 2 rookie NBA coaches on your staff. And it's just, for me, it was weird the way that JJ had responded to that. You know, it'll be addressed after the finals as if he has news to break. Right, which leads me to believe that maybe there really is something going on, unless they're really pulling our fucking leg. Well, then kudos to them, because I love a good prank. So kudos to them. But yeah, I don't see college coaches doing super well in the NBA, and I don't think Dan Hurley is going to be much of a difference. They've never heard anyone really rave about his coaching, and translating that to the pro level is a whole nother thing. Because you got to think, right? A college coach, there's still a lot of teaching. There's a lot of basic stuff that they still go over, as opposed to an NBA coach that expects you to know certain things, and you just kind of go through these plays and concepts, and that's the basis of it. It's a totally different coaching experience, and I think that's why they don't translate. Because if you talk to a grown man with family and that gets paid to do this for a living, that's been in the NBA longer than you've coached in the NBA, and you speak to them as if they're a college kid, they're going to have a problem with that, and they're not going to respond to you. They will respectfully respond to you if you don't cross the line, but they're not going to respond in their game. And that's why we've seen guys, Calipari went to the NBA, went back down. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a certain style that lives in college, and a style that lives in the NBA. And this leads me to, obviously the topic that I had on before, which is the new Lakers versus the old Lakers. The old Lakers was all about getting talent and building it up, and then signing, using their money because of where they are, sign free agents to be able to add some pieces or whatnot. Or in the Shaq case, just go out and get a star. Right? They just bought a star because they got the pockets for it. And to see the coaching the coaching news that they've been going through lately makes me feel as if this is a new version of the Lakers. This is not the Lakers of old that they always just made decisions. The only time I remember where it really dragged on was when it was with Kobe. When, he was considering going to Chicago, going to the Clippers, going to all these other places. But outside of that, every decision has been, pretty quick. And it's not this roulette, of of names that get thrown out there, and a bunch of them not having a big name. The biggest name having no NBA coaching experience. So yeah, it's puzzling to me. It's puzzling to me why they wouldn't look for like a Mark Jackson, JJ Redick combination. Or something like that, where you get a former coach, but someone that's watching these games consistently, evolving with the game, even though they probably have some older ideals. Bring in a younger, newer generation thought process like a JJ Redick, and combine and mesh those two, and hopefully they could come up with unique things to be able to counteract some of the more high-powered offenses and defenses that we have in the league. But the Lakers seem to be going a different direction. They are rebuilding their coaching staff while they have veteran stars. They don't have young stars that could grow with the staff. They have veteran stars that are expected to win now. So the fact that they're going in this direction is just very, very mind-blowing to me. Very, very mind-blowing to me. But, let's move on. Speaking of a star, we saw one on display against the Dallas Wings with the Las Vegas Aces.
Where she shines,
So let's take a look at this right here. Actually, let's also, you know what? June 5th. All right, so the Las Vegas Aces won in Dallas last night against the Dallas Wings, 95-81. And it was pretty comfortable the whole way. A'ja Wilson had a monster game. She had 36 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, 6 steals, and a block shot. She shot 15 of 22 from the field, 1 of 1 from 3, 5 of 6 from the line. Just an incredible game. Kelsey Plum added in 20 points, had 3 assists, and shot, 6 of 14 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3, 6 of 6 from the line. And Jackie Young added in 19 points, went 6 of 14 from the field, 2 of 8 from 3, 5 of 6 from the line, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, and they pretty much steamrolled the Dallas Wings. If it weren't for Arike, and I'm assuming I can't pronounce her last name. I'm so sorry. But she had 31 points with 7 assists, 4 steals. That's also a big game. 9 of 23, 3 of 9 from the field, 10 of 10 from the line. And then Tierra McCohen had 14. Maddie Siegrist had 14 as well. So let us take a look at how this game turned out.
where she shines, she comes out and she's playing hard.
And great pass from
Jump shots when you're down 18-6.
That'll be the attack the tunnel. That gives A'ja Wilson a lot more room to do her work. Here's the three.
Down possession by possession, you chip away and you go in at halftime and you get this young.
That is her first basket made for Arike and that was needed for Arike. The last 3 games, she only shot 24% from beyond the arc.
Gonna laugh.
Oh, A'ja Wilson. Here's Maddie. Launches the three. Didn't think they got back as well as they could. Wilson.
This is just, again, good defense. All right, people at least making, okay, team right now, they're getting after them. They are not afraid.
A'ja takes one way.
It's a physical lead.
Manning to the hole. Off it.
Team's best player, and that sure has showed up this season in the WNBA.
Wilson, that little shimmy shake.
The Mercury did here.
What a night for A'ja Wilson.
Tough.
And the final, 95.
So, we saw it was a pretty comfortable victory when you have A'ja Wilson playing like that, and bro, she is the game looks so easy for her. And, by that, the game becomes easy for everyone else as well too. It's that domino effect, and she demands a double team. They're gonna have to start doubling her, because it don't look like she really struggling in single coverage. She destroys people. In the mid range, she can score. I mean, she got the whole package. She looks like the best player in the WNBA. And Breanna Stewart is great, but physically, I don't think she matches up to an A'ja Wilson, because A'ja's just bigger, stronger. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's tough. So they are what is their here the standings. So right now they're fourth. They are 5-2. The Minnesota Lynx are 7-2. The New York Liberty are 8-2, and the Connecticut Sun are currently 9-0. So, yeah, obviously they have less games than these people, right? The Lynx already have 9 and they're at 7 games. So, we'll have to see how the rest of the season shakes out, but they have arguably the best player in the WNBA. And why is he going crazy, man? Oh, but let me see this. Let's not forget this. This shit was funny. Why are you going crazy?
But this is just, I don't know what Clark was thinking.
I don't know. Maybe they played AAU ball together. But, I mean, Alicia Clark does not make those type of mistakes. Oh, my God. Right? That's like with the football running the wrong way.
And she fouled her. Look. I don't know if y'all saw over here, but she fouled her.
They played AAU ball together. But, I mean, Alicia Clark does not make those.
She fouled her. So, how often do you see that? You don't see that very often. I feel like you more often see when they're looking at them almost, right? It's weird. I feel like you see that more often than them just looking away because they're talking to the referee and passing the ball off. So yeah, I thought that was funny. She definitely had her Shaqtin' in a Fool blooper little moment. But it gets to be funny when you're on a team like they have, where they've won so much. For them, it's really more about the playoffs, right? And so little things like this are funny. Like they said, it's uncharacteristic of her. So yeah, but going right back to A'ja Wilson, this is coming off of her, what was it? Her Player of the Month? Yeah, she was averaging 25 26.5, 12.7, but I think that's actually gone up because of the game that she had. So now she's at 27.9, 12.4 rebounds, and 2.6 assists per game. Like, that's phenomenal work. And I'll say this, right? We've seen the one approach of being physical with Caitlin Clark, you know, getting into it with her a little bit. It does bring eyes to you. I get that it's all competitiveness, but I also understand that does bring eyes to you in some way. There are enforcers, and that's a part of it, right? The other part of it is putting up numbers like A'ja Wilson has. With all the eyes on the WNBA, she decided to just put up some fucking numbers, and like, it's phenomenal because last year, right, in 2023, she was averaging what? 22.8 points, 9.5 rebounds, 1.6 assists, 1.4 steals. Why is he going so crazy? And 2.2 blocks. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Why is he tweaking? He's tripping right now. He's bugging. Yeah, so for her to go from those numbers to now averaging almost 28 points a game and almost 13 rebounds, 12.4, it's just like massive leaps to her game, right? Bringing attention to herself, it's as if she understood the fact that Caitlin Clark was coming in and said, watch this. Let me show you guys what the best WNBA player looks like. And she's doing that. She's, what is it? They were back-to-back champions last year, right? The Aces. And so they have a chance now to go back-to-back for a three-peat, and then A'ja Wilson can also go for her a third MVP. So talk about a potentially spectacular year in probably one of their most viewed years ever with Caitlin Clark's arrival. So, I think that's great. I think that, they were obviously targeting her still. It's a part of the game, but just showing it, right? She has her sneaker coming out this year. It's just so many great things are lining up perfectly for her. And, this is just, like I said, kudos to A'ja Wilson on really just putting everybody on game, basically. She's putting everybody on game, and this is what it is, right? So kudos to A'ja Wilson. And now moving on to, more of the past, we have a question. Could Luka have played in the 2000s? And that question comes courtesy of Shaq.
I judge players.
When he was interviewing Dirk. So let's take a look at what he said.
I judge players now by if they could have played with us, right? Do you think Luka could have played with us? I'm talking about in the years, me, you, Detroit, Spurs, Suns, our boy Steve Nash. You think Dirk could have played with us and did the same thing he's doing now? That's how I judge players.
So, Shaq says that's how he judges, players now. And I think everybody knows the answer to this, right? I'm surprised this is even a question. Of course. Players back then were less aggressive. I mean, were sorry, not less aggressive. They were less athletic. The game back then was slower. Luka has a half-court game. And then when he pulls you out to damn near the half-court line, what are you going to do? When he forces a switch with a big, it would have been the same thing. So, yeah, he would be able to do the same thing. Obviously the numbers are what they call inflated now, right? But he would have been able to do some very similar things. And the other part for me is the fact that he's closer to 6'9". I mean, they had him listed as 6'7" before. I think he's closer to 6'9" at this point. And he's a big motherfucker, man. Like, let me see. What's his actual height and weight? Let's see. Like, I don't think this is accurate. 230 pounds. I don't think that's accurate. That motherfucker does not look 230 pounds. 6'7", 230. No, sir. You look much bigger than that. Let's see if they have it anywhere here. Yeah, it all says 6'7", 230. He don't look 6'7", 230. I'm sorry. He just don't. He looks much bigger than that. And so he would have been as big as the power forwards back then. Think about that. He plays point guard, but he would have been as big as the power forwards. So who was going to guard him? You would have had to put, like, the Detroit Pistons only could have put Tayshaun Prince on him. Anyone else would have been too small. And even then, he's so crafty. Yeah, he would have, like, what's his name? Raja Bell would have been way too small for him. All these guys would have just, Tony Allen, too small for him. Like, when you think of ISO situations and then pick and rolls, he can catch it. He could do everything. So, yeah, I think it would have been easily. He would have been able to play in that time and would have been one of the best scorers still. Because at the end of the day, isolation basketball to me translates. We see players that can play ISO basketball. I think that translates. It's like when you go to the basketball court, right? What do you mean his thinking, Elijah? What do you mean his thinking back then? Oh. Like they wouldn't have been able to figure out how to use him properly. That's true. That's true. Well, see, and now for me, that's the hard part, right? Because I always say, well, you would have to put him into that mindset, right? Into that old school mindset. But my counter is, he played professionally in Europe from 16 to, 18, 19 when he came into the NBA. The Europe is still that old school way of playing. So he has some experience in that. I know now he's a little bit further away from it. But yeah, I think you could have put him in some actions back then, like what is it? Floppy, where they come off of the curl. Yeah. But like I said, I think he's so talented. You could have put him into, he could do anything, in my opinion. I think if you wanted him to develop more off the ball game, I think we've seen him do it a little bit. Obviously, his best attribute is to have the ball in his hand, but I think he would still have success. But yeah, I get what you're saying, that he would have been limited by their limited way of thinking. But if he would have ended up on a shit team, though, Elijah, like, and they would have had no choice, and he was the only one there, he would have had to go crazy, and we probably would have seen some crazy numbers too. Like, you know what I'm saying? If he had a team like Kobe when he had 81, he could have fucked around and had 70 back then still, you know? Because, like I said, one-on-one, I think, translate, and I don't think anyone would have really been able to really guard him one-on-one. The way no one's really able to guard him one-on-one now. I don't think that really changes at all. But moving on to this shit right here, man. I don't know about you, Elijah. I've been fucking thinking about this little matchup nonstop. I've probably been thinking about it a little too much, if I'm being honest with you. But we have the Dallas Mavericks versus the Boston Celtics. Game 1 is going down tonight, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, right? Is that right? I think that's right. $8:30 p.m. Eastern. Okay. 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Nice. I love that. So when we look at their last two matchups, yeah, like when you look at their matchups, I keep saying you have to match. You know, the duos have to. It really comes down to which duo can outdo the other one. I don't either. Every single day, I'm like, it switches. I'm like, Boston go win, then Dallas is gonna win, then Boston go win, then Dallas go win, then Boston go win. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. I can't even go off of their games from the season because Dallas don't look like the same team. Right? Like what's his name? This is from which game is this? Fuck, man. This is from the March 1st game. 138, 110 Boston won, right? And Tatum had 32, Brown had 25, and Porzingis had 24. Well, you eliminate Porzingis. I know Derek White has the potential to score that much, but Kristaps was such a huge part of being able to spread the floor against those bigs. And then on the other side for the Dallas Mavericks in that game, Luka had 37 and Kyrie only had 19. Gafford only played 5 minutes. Lively only played 23 minutes. Josh Green played 28 minutes. Like, it's not the same team at all, right? Like, obviously, we would expect Kyrie to make more shots, but you know, it really comes down to that duo, right? And in this other matchup, when was this? Was this in January 22nd, right? Boston won 119 to 110, and Luka had 33, Kyrie had 23, but Tatum had 39 and Brown had 34, and that's really the difference. It's like Luka's what Tatum is +6 on his matchup with Luka, and then Brown is +11 on the points. Like, but we've seen, you know, basketball it's about rhythm and it's about runs. And right now, honestly, both duos are clicking. Oh shit. See, if this Timberwolves series looked more like the OKC series where freaking Kyrie was getting like 10 points. Like, you know, then maybe I would lean more towards Boston, but especially recently, Kyrie's been going crazy. And I was watching Gil's Arena yesterday, and they were debating Luka Doncic, how to cover Luka. And Gilbert Arenas was saying that the stats say out of 100 possessions, when you double Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks, they score 67 points out of 100 possessions, right? When he's double teamed, versus when he's not double teamed, right? And I think it was like 101 or some shit, or 110 points out of 100 possessions is some crazy shit, right? And so obviously you have to double team him. But what happens if PJ Washington gets loose and gets 30? Because now what happens is, right, this when you're in a series, are you gonna do the same thing the next game and fuck around and see if PJ Washington can hit open threes again? Yeah, I don't know how that works. At some point, Luka's gonna get off, and it's gonna fuck everything up. So, for me, Boston's defense has to be their offense, right? I'm pretty sure, if I could find the stat. Ooh. Yeah, it's like I think obviously you want him to consistently see two people, right? But at the end of the day, let's see. I'm trying to see what team, because I'm pretty sure. Yeah, see, I was right. The Boston Celtics lead the league in isolation plays, right? the Clippers lead it in possessions, but they lead it in, what is this? Where the fuck was it? Oh, they don't lead it in this. Let's see. Why the fuck were they on the top of the list then, motherfucker? So frequency percentage, it's the Clippers. Boston is second. They're averaging 13.2 points on ISOs. Dallas is averaging 10.7 possessions. This is the regular season on isolations. Oh, this is the playoffs. So sorry. Oh, so they were close. So 11.7 possessions. Dallas was averaging 9.9 for Boston. Points, Dallas was averaging 12.3 to Boston's 10. So that's tough. Because like I was saying, one of the keys is going to have to be for Boston to really attack Luka and score on him, make him tired, but then also force a rotation, because now they're going to have to start double teaming and helping. And now you get free shots for other people. It's like they could, both teams can do kind of similar shit. It's just for the Boston Celtics, you have, you know, yeah, so like I think the easy answer would be, like, for example, for the Mavericks to have Lively and Gafford make plays for you. But, you know, they're going to make an adjustment and put Kyrie in a position to receive that ball off that catch, right? And now you're going to leave Kyrie one-on-one on the weak side. Kyrie's going to have the ball going 4v3 at the rim, right? Like that's the other problem. Like once we could talk about Luka all day long. Once the ball leaves his hand, and if the ball finds its way to Kyrie Irving, you have Kyrie in either an isolation where a guy's either scrambling or the guy's been on him. And if he attacks the rim, it's a 4v3 on the backside because Luka already drew 2. It's a problem no matter what. On the other side, Boston causes similar problems for Dallas. Dallas is going to have to double Jayson Tatum. I don't know if any one person is going to be able to guard him either. He just don't have the ball as much as Luka does. But if I'm pretty sure he could post up pretty much all of those guys. PJ Washington would probably have the most success. But Derek White and anyone else, Derek White, Kyrie, and Luka, I think he could take those guys one-on-one and post them up. Jaylen Brown can take most of those guys one-on-one and cause problems on the weak side. That's what we were talking about the other day. How, yeah, they double Tatum on the strong side, but once the ball finds its way to Brown on the weak side, he gets to play one-on-one on an island. It's like they cause a similar problem. For me, the difference is in Boston's ability to guard. Dallas has good paint defense, but Boston has better perimeter defense. Not saying that they're going to stop Luka and Kyrie, but their guys have, they've gotten defensive stops to win games. They've done it recently. You have different bodies to throw at Luka and Kyrie, and they're not just anybody. 2 of them are all defensive players. Brown was potentially another one. And Jayson Tatum has size and isn't a bad defender himself. So when we look at that versus the Dallas Mavericks, we're looking at PJ Washington and Lively. And then I think Derrick Jones Jr. is a good defender. These guys have just been so good at one-on-one. Like, Brown and Tatum have just been so good at one-on-one. Like, I don't know. I would have to see Derrick Jones Jr. And then, obviously, we'll look at Kyrie and Luka, and they're more of the liabilities on defense. So, realistically, this is a really even and a fair matchup. And I think this is why we're struggling with it, right? I don't know, bro. Do we lean on experience? Do we just take the easy route and say Boston has more experience? But then they argue that Boston had the easier route. And then like but look, we could do this shit all day, because then I can argue this, right? I can argue that the Dallas Mavericks haven't faced like a legitimate championship contending team this year. In the sense of a team that had actual championship experience. Like, Boston had been there themselves. The Clippers, no one on that team. OKC with Bill Walton, I didn't even think of that part. OKC, obviously, they're young as fuck. And then I said this before, I really wonder how that series looks if Denver played against Dallas. Because down the stretch, if those games against the Denver Nuggets are close, I think they look a little bit different than what we saw against the Minnesota Timberwolves. They made that shit look easy. And now you're playing against a team that has been executing down the stretch. And then let's add the fact that a lot of these games for Dallas have been really close. OKC, a lot of games were close. Clippers, back and forth. Minnesota, they won easily, but it was still relatively tight games. So they haven't faced a team that compares to the Boston Celtics. The same way the Boston Celtics haven't faced a duo like the Dallas Mavericks. But I feel like this is what Boston has been working for. And there's such a thing in the NBA as growing pains. Like, certain losses are the turning point in players' careers. And that's how it's felt all year for Boston. We saw, I forget who it was that got traded to them. Was it Tillman? I think it was Xavier Tillman. But I was watching an interview in the middle of the year, and he was saying, because he came from Memphis, and he was saying how the demeanor in Boston was totally different. Like, they don't get too high, they don't get too low. They try to stay consistent. Jayson Tatum has been saying it in every interview. Even keeled. They try to just not too high, not too low. The way they prepare is different. The way they do things is different. They're just like it's like the shit that motherfuckers be saying. Like, they do championship shit from when they put their socks on. Like, everything is is to the championship, right? And they dominated the year like that was the case. And so it feels like it's the Boston Celtics' championship to lose. And they're running up against a hot Dallas Mavericks team. Now, how will Derek Lively respond? Yep. Yeah, I agree. It's that for them, and for me, it almost feels like for Boston, if they get over this hump, they might start running the table every year. Because, now they're going to know how to get this job done, and they might, I think we're going to start really putting some respect on these two guys' name. They've been phenomenal this playoffs. I don't think a lot of people have been talking about it, but Brown won MVP in the conference finals, but Tatum was averaging 30 and 10. like this team is just hitting on all cylinders as well. The real issue is Porzingis, though, unfortunately. We'll have to see how he looks. Man, can the Boston Celtics win this without Porzingis is really the question I'm at right now. What do you think, Elijah? Without a 100% in shape, like NBA final shape and mentality ready Porzingis, can they beat a hot Dallas Mavericks team with arguably the best player in the world? I still think he's the second best player in the world. And a Kyrie Irving that's a proven champion. I don't know. Yo, I'm just gonna say it, bro. I was talking to this with my girl the other day, because I've picked against the Dallas Mavericks since round 1. Oh, you think they do beat him still? Oh, nice. Because this is what I was saying. Or no, not since round 1. Sorry, since round 2. Because I thought the Mavericks would actually beat the Clippers. But since round 2, I thought OKC would beat Dallas. Conference finals, I thought the Timberwolves would beat Dallas. And so I told her, I was like, I'm due to have a right to be right on against Dallas. And I could easily just choose Boston and say, I think I'm going to be right just off of that. Like, I'm due for one. But I think the teams are so close, right? Like, the teams are really, really close. I think Minnesota is dumb as fuck. I think these players are really great, but they didn't make the game more difficult for them. And the games were already tight. Like, I'm disappointed in Minnesota. They played a shit series and the series was still tight. But I think Dallas and Boston are so close offensively in terms of, we've seen, obviously he's not 33.9 and he's never had 73, but Tatum can score the shit out of the ball. And this year and this playoffs, he's made it a point to get to the basket and get to the free throw line. And I think there's going to be times where he needs to realize he's the biggest player on the floor. And once he realizes that and makes the switch, I think this series can switch. Jaylen Brown, I think, has like his confidence is through the roof. Like, he knows his role, but he knows at any given time he feels like he's the best player in the world. Like, you could tell the way he speaks about himself. So when you add those things together, their defense as a team, not even individually, they've been there before. They've gone through all of the losses. I don't know if Luka's gone through enough of these heartbreaking losses yet. Boston has had a couple of them already. And so, having gone through these losses, it's made them numb to the up and down emotions of the finals. And a player like PJ Washington, that's from Dallas, that loves his home, that's, been so prideful about his game and where he comes from and being in Dallas, he made all of his dreams come true. He has a bad game. How does that look like? Lively has a poor game. How does that look like on the rookie? I think Luka and Kyrie will be okay, but we saw it happen for Denver. In the second half of that game 7 between Jokic and Murray, they had like 30 something 40 points together, and the rest of the lineup had like 3. So if you're going to rely on PJ Washington to get you over the top, I don't know if you could count on that. But we've had guys on Boston who have gone through this process before. And by that, I think Boston Celtics win the NBA title this year. And they win it in... They win in 6 games. 4-2. I don't think it goes to game 7. I think they figure it out, and I think they get this. I think they get this out, and I think the Boston Celtics win in 6 games. What you think, Elijah? All right. Whew. I've been tripping over this shit all week, man. I've been tripping over it all week. But, we've been talking a lot about some one-on-one players. So it had me wondering, because I've been watching so much Kyrie, Luka, Tatum. Like, I've been watching so much of these guys. It really had me wondering, who is the best one-on-one player in the league right now? Now, you got 7, Boston and 7. All right, let's lock it in. I got Boston and 6. You got Boston and 7. Let's lock it in. Let's see what happens, man. Let's see what happens. I will also be I'll be live streaming the game. So Boston, you guess. You gotta have some more confidence than that. I'm just rolling win or lose. At least I have no emotional attachment to it like it's the Knicks, because God, I would be a mess. I'd be an emotional wreck if I had to go through this shit. And it was my Knicks. Now, for one-on-one players. Now, like, I think someone like Kyrie is on the top of this list, right? If we're doing, because this, we'd have to put rules, right? This would have to be, I would say 3 spots, 3 dribbles. That's how I'd play it, just to see, we see some creativity from guys. 3 spots, best of 3 spots, 3 dribbles. So if we were to do that, God, I wish we could watch this shit. So we could watch some of this with USA coming up. So that's also what got me thinking about it. That's why it's so unfortunate that Kyrie and shit won't be there. But obviously you have, I'll get the little guards out the way. I'll get, you got Kyrie Irving, Devin Booker, a Damian Lillard. Who else is a really good ISO player as a guard? I guess you could throw Jamal Murray's also real solid in isolation. Donovan Mitchell is real good in isos. Shea is a bigger guard, but Shea, obviously, Luka, obviously, and then we start getting to like bigger guards. I guess he's still a 2 guard, but Anthony Edwards, Kevin Durant, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. Yeah, so for me, the big key in like talking about one-on-ones is they have to be able to play not just offense, but also they got to play some defense. So one-on-one players, they got to play some defense. That's why I think like Kyrie probably gets far, but when he runs into a player like fucking, like if he runs into a Luka, what do you think will happen? I mean, he can't guard Luka, but Luka can't guard him either, actually. So, if he runs into like a Paul George or like a Kawhi, for me, Kevin Durant is like at the top of this list still. And the only thing for me that like knocks him down a little bit is because he's getting older. But if we get to start just face to face, 1-on-1, 3 dribbles max, like I'm pretty sure. Yeah, but I argue this, like when it comes to Bron Elijah, he's never been a one-on-one scorer player. Like he's just never been a one-on-one, like he's just never been a one-on-one player like that. He scored out, like he used to do this all the time. Especially he does it less now, but I don't know if you remember, but he would be at the 3-point line and he would back up. He would take like 2 dribbles back so he could get a head start running at you, because off of his just dribble moves alone, that wasn't where his strength was. It's not that he wasn't good at it. It just wasn't his strength. The way like Luka, Kyrie, and KD, they could score without even dribbling the fucking ball. Like they could just triple threat, jab step you, like, and I think that's why we've never, people have never really brought up Bron in conversations like this. He's obviously the highest scorer, the most points ever. And I think that makes it even more impressive, honestly, that he did that in he's not even a scorer. He's not even a scorer. Like that's not what I don't think that's his best attribute personally. And he's great, and I've had to debate a lot of people over the years, and people think I'm hating. It's like, no, this is just basketball. Like when I say someone is a better one-on-one player than him, that don't mean they're a better player than him. Like this, like, like it's not even close. Could he do well in a one-on-one? Yeah, I think he could do well, but I'm sure it'll be a lot of posting up. It'll just be a lot of muscling motherfuckers and just stiff arming them, layup. He'll do his little hand look, the ball look, right? The hand look. So yeah, he could do well in it, but when it comes to, and this is another thing too. I've always said this about LeBron. On defense, he's always been a better help defender than he is a one-on-one defender. I've always felt like that because when he's able to, and it lends to his strength if you think about it, right? When he's on the weak side, he's able to watch what's going on with the offense while he's on defense, and he can predict what's happening. So when a player is able to run to the rim, that's why he gets so many blocks on the weak side, because he already sees what's happening. He predicts it. He's so fast. Like I said, when you give him a running start, you know, that's why he comes out of nowhere and does shit like that. You know, it lends to his strength. But when it comes to playing one-on-one, that's why Kobe, even though he's smaller than LeBron, has had some success on him. You know, we've seen even Steph Curry, who isn't necessarily a great one-on-one player. He's a really good one-on-one player, but not necessarily a great one-on-one player, have success on Bron. Like, it just, you know, it is what it is. But if I had to give it to someone, oh yes. Oh my God, I can't believe I can't leave him off the list. Jalen Brunson. I think he would give the best battle to Kyrie, in my opinion, in terms of like the little guards. I think he would give Kyrie the most issues because Kyrie would have to deal with his physicality on offense and on defense. Right? And I think that's the problem with Brunson. When you look at, like, I think he could even score on like an Anthony Edwards a couple times. Yeah, and you know, even like for example, like I don't want to go back on this, but if you know, people remember that when he switched to Derrick Rose in the Chicago Bulls series, I don't know if you remember that, against the when it was Miami against Chicago, and he switched to Derrick Rose. And the thing about Derrick Rose is he loads up, right? Like when he dribbles the ball, he loads up, and he's going to go right. Right? If Derrick Rose dribbled left, he was gonna pull up or he was gonna step back and shoot. But Derrick Rose was going to go right. So their game plan was really easy. It's just that they needed someone with size and speed like LeBron, because what you had to do with Derrick Rose at that point was give him space, right? So now the issue is when players at that time give him space and he's gotten going, he was able to hit his jump shot. But when you have someone like LeBron on you, that jumper that would have been open with the same amount of space with a point guard, LeBron's able to cover that. So it took away his jumper, and now he's going right. LeBron is backed up a little bit, and he could try to just meet you at a spot instead of having this to race you. And you know, that's what people don't understand about. It's not that he did a great job on him on defense, but it was a great game plan surrounding that, right? Like, it just, he's a really great defender. Don't get me wrong, but on ball, like one-on-one defense, it was just never his thing. That's why Melo always, and I watch all those matchups, Melo used to always get off on Bron. That's how I know. Like, when it comes to this one-on-one, you're on an island and someone can pivot you to death. Yeah. It was over. So for me, man, I can't believe I forgot Brunson, bro. I'm real disappointed in myself. I would say Kyrie would beat him just off of how great Kyrie has been, for how great he's been for his career. And I don't think Kyrie has ever gotten enough credit for being a good defender. I always thought he's been a good, solid defender overall. But yeah, I would have to give that to KD. It would end up being like, if it was like a bracket, depending on who plays who, at the end of it, you'd probably get like I would say a Kevin Durant versus an Anthony Edwards, or like a Kevin Durant versus a healthy Kawhi Leonard. I think that's how that ball rolls out. And then that would be for all the marbles. That would be for the best one-on-one player in the world. What else do we got over here? Oh, well, I mean, I guess we were already talking about it a little bit. But what are some of the favorite final series with the finals starting up today? Do you have any favorite final series, Elijah? For me, excuse me. Let me think. That 06 Miami Dallas Mavericks finals was insane. That shit was insane. Yeah, that Dwayne Wade was like one of the greatest finals perform. It might be. I mean, outside of like some bronze stuff, that was probably like one of the greatest finals performances I've ever seen in my life, man. Like, what did he average? Let's see what he averaged that day, or that series. Well, what did this fool average? The totals per game: 34.7, 7.8 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 2.7 steals, and a block a game. That had to be one of the greatest shit I've ever seen, bro. Dwayne Wade. Obviously seeing Kobe get back to back, that was lit. Because he went from greatness to a bunch of shit teams, shit years, and then slowly worked his way back into that championship. So seeing Kobe, and then also on top of that, they lost that first year, right? They lost to Boston at first, right? And that's like, and I guess going back to like Luka, like, look at that. Kobe at that point was the best player in the world. Already won a championship with Shaq, right? Already had finals experience, and he was still the best player in the world at that point, right? Damn, that sounds lit, man. That sounds lit. Honestly, too, I've been getting that feeling again lately, like watching these games where like you want to go run outside and go play some basketball after watching these games. Like I've been getting that vibe again. That's why like watching this has been so exciting for me this year. That was awesome. I can't even lie. Like yeah, see, like for me, like the Knicks ain't never got there since 2000, so like I'm in the clear when it comes to emotions in the finals. No emotional attachment. I'm telling you, it's great. It's great. I get to just watch it and have fun. But yeah, so seeing Kobe do that shit. But like I said, like he ran into the Celtics and lost. just because they had a matchup against him. Like, he was the best player in the series still, and it didn't matter. Like, it didn't matter. Like, that's what might end up happening in this Dallas Mavericks Boston Celtics series, where Luka could be Luka, Kyrie could be Kyrie, and they still lose. Because Boston as a team are just well prepared, and it's not like their stars are chumps. So, yeah, but honestly, all of those Warriors in Cleveland series, looking back on it, they were all crazy. Like, every year they were playing, bro. Like, that in itself was insane. The fact that we were going through the whole season knowing damn well who the finals was going to be. You know how pissed I would have been if I was the rest of the league, bro? The other 28 teams, I'd have been tight. 30 teams. Can you think about that? Think about that, Elijah. You had your summer vacation. You had a great time on your summer vacation. You probably went to, where would you probably go? You probably go to like Cancun. Probably go to like France or some shit, right? With your family, with your kids, with your wifey, whatever, right? You go on vacation for like a month or two, come back, you start training, right? Get into training camp, and then your coach starts talking about, yeah, this is our game plan for the year. We this is the seed we're gonna try to make it at. This is our goals, blah blah blah. And you listening to that motherfucker like, we all know who's making it to the finals, dude. Like, could you imagine being in those player meetings at training camp and this guy talking about playoffs and championship, and you're sitting there like, I don't know about you, but I'm here for a check this year because we all know who's going there. Like, that's a wild time. That was a wild time to be an NBA fan. Like, it was decided before the season had even started. Wait, hold on. Do you remember that series? Do you remember that series when DeMar DeRozan said, this man is the best player in the world? I said, hell no, you will never win this series. You will never win a series against this man for as long as you live, DeMar. I am so sorry. If you want to get a finals, you better hope he's not in the series. There was no way you were in a series against him and he said, yeah, he's the best player in the world. I was like, what? It's like, are you bugging? LeBronto, man, damn. But yeah, that's I don't know if you saw Angel, but I got Boston. I think they're gonna win. I think they're gonna win. LeBronto is really clever. That is funny, honestly. If there was one thing about LeBron that I do think is hilarious right now, is the fact that they put L-E and then whatever, like like if it's like if he drop off his kids at school, it'd be like, let drop off his kids at school. Yeah, like, bro, LeBron was, bro, okay, so that's the other thing too, bro. Well, I've every single day I've been switching. Like, I was watching a bunch of Mavs shit. I'm like, oh, Mavs got this easy. And then I was watching a bunch of Boston shit. Oh, Boston got this. It's really tight. I just think Boston edges it out. Bro, I can't believe that yeah, yo, that shit was crazy. But like, could you believe that people were saying 25-year-old Luka is better than 25-year-old LeBron? Like, I'm very honest about the fact that I'm not a LeBron fan, but are we good? Like, are we okay? 25-year-old bro, like, how I know motherfuckers was not watching basketball. Like, bro, 25-year-old Bron was just doing shit. Like, LeBron's 40 and he's still faster and jumps higher than the rest of the NBA. Imagine him at 25. Yeah, their other guys just have not been there versus Boston that has. So we'll see. We will see. Like, I'm not no big LeBron, but bro, he was crazy. Like, the fact that people even want to compare that is like, bruh, I get Luka's great. And this is another thing about some basketball fans. Like, when it really comes down to it, in my opinion, you have to take the person that has the great combination of athleticism and skill. And LeBron's athleticism is through the roof. And he also had great skill, like passing ability and just knowledge and intuition in the game. Like, it was just different. It was just different. But anyway, I've been yapping. Holy shit, I've been on for a minute. But I've been yapping my ass off. I will be back on in a couple hours for the finals later, so we'll get on. I'll probably like get on an hour before some shit, play some games, chill, kick it, and then live react to the game. But yeah, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. It'll really help me out. And as always, you could have been anywhere on the internet, Elijah and Angel, but you decided to be here with me, and I really appreciate y'all for that. So thank you for coming and hanging out with me. Until later, and then tomorrow we'll go over this game some more, but until later, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys later. Peace.